We'll find out soon enough if he's saving fuel.
Let's go. And Colton Herta gets another chance to try and unlap himself. Very quickly on the inside was Kyle Kirkwood. See that pink and white and black car on the right? 5 cars back. He's already cleared Tristan Vautier. And Ericsson, his teammates behind him. And then Alexander Rossi.
Linus Lundqvist is the next. Oh!
Good work from Alex Rossi there to avoid Ericsson. He had to switch one side to the other.
Side by side now into 4, advantage to Ericsson. Let's see if Rossi wants to be brave down the hill into turn 5. We've seen it go wrong here before today. Kept in line, but still all over the back of the Andretti Global driver.
Hey guys, massive success. We've gone through turns 3 and 5 with no incidents.
Let's celebrate.
Let's go!
Hold your breath, guys, because here comes Kyle Kirkwood up the inside of the lap car of Linus Lundqvist, who's putting up a huge fight.
They bang wheels, but no worries. Through turn 9, a lap is completed under green flag conditions. This is good stuff. How about Marcus Armstrong in that orange route car? There he is at the back there climbing the hill. The young Kiwi is driving brilliantly and is on target for his career best result.
So now we wonder, does Dixon need to save? Let's listen. Not much.
It's a little, it's not
Hinch,
much.
Again, I'm going to wonder, are they racing for a splash here? He's already put 3.5 seconds in 1 lap on Kirkwood.
Firestone telemetry telling us the key numbers. Look at this scrap going on here. Will Power, Pato Award, Felix Rosenquist.
All these drivers have had some sort of issue today, no more so than Power in this train. But as you say it, T-Bell, Dixon saving some fuel. He's putting the gap to Kirkwood, but Kirkwood's been dealing with lap traffic. I'm not sure. I think this is just the pace Scott has.
Well, Armstrong's in the same situation. They both pitted on lap 56, so it feels to me like Scott Dixon is trying to stretch things out. I think he's if it stays green, I think he needs to stop.
This is Kirkwood working on Armstrong.
Well, if he can't do it, Armstrong definitely can't do it. No offense to Marcus, that's just a lot of experience in Scott Dixon at saving fuel, which means this man here, Kyle Kirkwood, is sitting pretty with 10 laps more fuel in the car. He's going to try it on the outside.
Maybe an over and under, maybe a switchback, can't quite do it. Thinks about it there, tucks back in behind the 23-year-old New Zealander.
Great defensive drive there from Marcus Armstrong into turn 3, a little bit wide in 4. Got a best career finish of 5th. That was just last month at the Indy GP.
The other thing we always talk about in the closing stint of an IndyCar race is push to pass remaining. You burn more fuel when you use it, but most of the field has about half of their allotted 150 seconds left. In many cases, 2/3. If you look at Armstrong and Kirkwood, they're in great shape.
Well, remember, we've run more laps under caution than we have under green, so they haven't had the opportunity to use their push to pass. But now they're going to start getting a little trigger happy with that button. You see Kirkwood gone to it already a few times on this lap. And no doubt he'll be doing it out at turn 2, trying to line up another pass attempt into 3.
Marcus Armstrong had a mechanical issue that took him out of the Indianapolis 500. He's racing for his first IndyCar podium here. But here comes Kirkwood. The AutoNation Honda thinks about going to the inside. Armstrong blocks him into the hairpin. Can he do the switchback here successfully? Nope. Good driving, Armstrong. He's making it hard for Kirkwood.
Kirkwood tried to sell him the dummy by making it look like he was committing to the right and fading back left, but Armstrong not taking the bait, stayed down driver's left, defended nicely, kept it nice and tight through both apexes at turn 3 there. This is a very good defensive drive from Armstrong, looking in the mirrors as much as he is through the aero screen.
And guys, just like that, Dixon's got nearly a 4-second lead.
That gives him the opportunity to back off and save more fuel if he wants, now that he's got a bit of a buffer. And again, he still has the lap down car of Colton Herta in between himself and Armstrong.
Kirkwood down the back straightaway. Let's take a look at a replay here. Pato Award, Will Power.
These guys have been scrapping for multiple laps. The Chevy duo, one from Arrow McLaren, one from Team Penske.
And that's a really nice, clean textbook pass for Pato Award. I know there's, you know, maybe a touch winglet to winglet, but for a corner like turn 3 that has produced all kinds of massive hits, that's a slick move from the Mexican.
Something you guys spoke about at the top of the show when we were on the grid was the GM drivers performing in the shadows of GM's headquarters in the Rensen. At the moment, the Honda boys are spoiling the party. Dixon, Armstrong, Kirkwood, Ericsson, the top four, all Honda power.
On board with 5-hour energy, on board with Pietro Fittipaldi trying to salvage something from the day after some issues on track. Hanging on to 11th right now, just outside that top 10. Would love to bring home a strong result.
This goes on and on and on. That is Armstrong and Kirkwood. They keep trying to work each other over. 22 laps to go from here.
And Kirkwood's going to know that Armstrong is saving fuel. Lap 56 was the last time Armstrong came to pit road. Lap 65 for Kyle Kirkwood. You see on your pylon there when everyone came to pit road last. Remember, a few of those, I'm looking at power, I'm looking at, well, Newgarden's not on there anymore, but some of those are for drive-through penalties, not actually for a service.
Just curious how much gas is Scott Dixon burning? Where does he sit? Then we go on board down the Brack straightaway and just listen. Watch that Firestone telemetry.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, big coast phase.
He's not
trying
pushing.
to gap and splash.
No, you do not want to splash and go. He is making this work.
Dixon in control. That sounds familiar. Day, it's been highly eventful. So many cautions, 8 cautions in total, and the Indy 500 winner, the now 2-time Indy 500 winner. Last weekend was amazing. Today, Marty, it's all gone away from Joseph Newgarden.
And here's how it happened, Lee. A little contact with the wall right there for Joseph Newgarden. Got the toe link. They have had to bring him down pit road. This day has gone from bad to worse, Dylan, for Joseph Newgarden, who sits here on pit road with 18 to go, Dylan.
And Kyle Kirkwood runs third, still trying to get around Marcus Armstrong. He's trying to understand what strategy the 11 is on as well.
Does he have fuel trouble? Yeah, Armstrong's being told to save fuel.
And so you see there, Kirkwood has lost ground to Armstrong. He really wanted to get by him to try to obviously put pressure on Dixon. Now he's just trying to catch back up to the 11, Kevin.
But Dylan, they're telling Marcus Armstrong he's hitting the number, and they've told him don't let Kirkwood force you out of that. Certainly he's serving as a buffer for his teammate Scott Dixon, who is very calm. Only a couple of words since the restart. The number has not changed, 580, and that's a code, and he's been told you can use map 4 if you want it. I don't think fuel is a huge concern for Dixon.
For Scott McLaughlin's first ever podium, he followed fellow New Zealander Scott Dixon home at Texas Motor Speedway. Marcus Armstrong is facing his first podium if he can hang in there for another 17 laps. And who would he follow home? Scott Dixon. Santino Ferrucci on Fittipaldi. Inside at the hairpin, and he gets the deal done.
Theo Pourchaire is going to try to capitalize on that as well. Looks to the inside of turn 4. Tough to go side by side. Made it work, though. Great driving from both drivers there.
Hard to imagine we'll get 17 laps of green with the way this pack is running together.
Hey,
Vautier still hanging tough.
Glass half full, Mr. Bell.
Hey, restarts are fun.
And we've at least had a bit of running now for these drivers to get into a rhythm, getting a better feel for the racetrack. So I think we can pull it off. I think we can go.
I'm with you, Hinch, as we show you Theo Pourchaire and Santino Ferrucci.
Not sure that was an intentional move to the outside for Pourchaire, who's battling that bent race car.
I mean, that's what makes it even more impressive is the fact that Pourchaire, his geometric alignment is completely askew.
Ferrucci rounds up Tristan Vautier. That was for 11th.
Pourchaire's going around the outside to follow through. What's Fittipaldi going to do?
Fittipaldi looked like he was going to try to send it in there, and he did on Vautier.
Tell you what, even if the positions don't change, it's going to feel like a victory for Marcus Ericsson. In that Delaware Life Honda, he runs 4th at the moment behind his teammate. There he is, just coming out of that turn. Right here is the Indianapolis 500 winner of 2 years ago. It's been a pretty miserable time of late for Marcus Ericsson. He collided with his teammate Colton Herter at the
remaining, 15 to go.
Sancio Grand Prix. He crashed at Indy.
P4, Kirkwood's P3.
He said, where are we? He wanted to know exactly where we were. He crashed at Indy. You remember he had to go to a backup car. He barely made the field. As a first and second place finisher at the Indy 500, it was almost inconceivable. But that's what happened to Marcus Ericsson. And then he was out of the Indy 500 on the very first lap in the first turn. And when I spoke to him this weekend, he said, I just need to reset. I got to start all over again. I got to start afresh. And I see this as the beginning of the rest of my season. And so far, Dylan, so good for Marcus Ericsson.
Yeah, and the kind of struggles continue this weekend. He hit the wall in first practice. It delayed their on-track time in second practice. And I'll echo kind of those sentiments from Marcus. Spoke with Eric Bretzman, his strategist, earlier today. He said, we really need a good run. There's no quit in these guys, and we're going to keep trying. But it sure would be nice to just be happy leaving the racetrack again. They've had a really good day, executed perfectly, and inside the top 5 right now.
Agustin Canapino is headed for his first top 10 for Junco's Hollinger Racing. He's behind Felix Rosenqvist, ahead of the charging Santino Ferrucci. Here they are, two very strong drivers, determined drivers. Ferrucci is in go mode and attack mode. What can the Argentinian do? He's defending all the way up to the concrete wall to make Ferrucci go the long way around.
Ferrucci will try the cross up here at the exit, but it will not happen this lap for the 14, but it is nose on gearbox as they wind down into the canyon.
And a couple of bests potentially happening, like you said, Dip. A couple of best season results, Bebby, for Kirkwood and Ericsson, and best career results in Armstrong and Canapino. A few drivers really just hanging on here for a good one. What do we have here, though?
Oh,
that is Canapino going a little bit wide. Out of turn 5, I believe, collecting some of the barrier.
May have been on the previous lap that allowed Ferrucci to get a little bit closer. And Teo Pourchaire as well. All right, counting them down. 12.5 laps to go. Scott Dixon in control to the tune of about 3 seconds.
Look at that steering. I mean, that's something you see on an oval.
It is so difficult as a driver. It throws off your equilibrium. It throws off all your references, everything about positioning when you have the steering wheel so out of whack like that. So a great job from the rookie.
Little touch, little contact there between Ferrucci and Canapino. Now they're starting to line up. Fittipaldi comes into the mix in the 5-hour Energy Honda.
But
for
Canapino got a great shot into that brake zone of turn 8.
Bottom of your screen, Joseph Newgarden entering the pits.
All these cars in view right now pitted on lap 65, so they're all in a very similar fuel situation.
Ericsson just got by Kyle Kirkwood for 1 foot on the podium. So the Andretti Global teammates have been fighting, but Kirkwood's going backwards. Let's get some more updates from the pits. We kick it off with Marty.
Lee, let's check in on the back half of the top 10. Alexander Rossi in 5th here at Detroit. Where did he finish last year in Detroit? 5th. And as disappointed as he was with the Indianapolis 500, he is back-to-back top 5s if he can finish right here for Rossi and Arrow McLaren. His teammate Pat O'Ward right behind him, who said before the race to me, I just want to survive this race. He started 12th. O'Ward up in the 6th position right now. The fastest car on the racetrack for the last several laps has been Christian Lundgaard. A moment ago he passed Will Power. Now he's tracking down Pat O'Ward in the 45, Kevin.
What a day it's been for Will Power. He is where he started in 8th, but anything but a conventional day. The list of penalties we don't have time for. Emergency service didn't pack up, penalized 3 spots. The drive-through for avoidable contact and even more. But here he is on alternates trying to hang on to score some points, because remember, he is still 3rd in the championship. And also a great recovery for Felix Rosenqvist. A puncture at the start of this race. He pitted. He was last. He's had good pace. He's on pace to get a top 10 again here today. The only one he didn't was when they lost an engine at the Indianapolis 500 last week, Dylan.
A great rebound as well for Santino Ferrucci on a weekend filled with a lot of angst on and off the racetrack. He has kept a cool head, rebounded from a first turn incident where he stopped a contact with Helio Castroneves that resulted in a drive-through penalty, has marched all the way back to where he started in 10th and is on the charge.
A little further up the order in the top 10, we go back to the Delaware Live Honda of Marcus Ericsson. This is how he got by his teammate Kyle Kirkwood. Kyle couldn't fight it, didn't fight it.
That was unusual.
Yeah, it's almost like Kyle kind of saw him coming and wasn't sure he was going to make the corner and decided to just open him up and not risk the contact. But guys, Ericsson's been one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, been in the top 3 quickest cars for the last handful of laps. You can see the gap that he has pulled already.
Tell you what, he's not that far behind Marcus Armstrong. He's not going to hang on just for third. He may get second. He might want the win because Dixon's only 3.1 seconds up the road.
Well, and who's just in front of Scott Dixon? A driver with nothing to lose, but a teammate to Marcus Ericsson, Colton Herta. Colton's back on the lead lap, but has the potential to slow Dixon down and bring him into the clutches of Ericsson with 9 to go.
And guys, let's look at simple math. Last lap for Marcus Ericsson, a 103.5. Last lap for Scott Dixon, a 104.3, 0.8 of a second to the good for this guy here with 9 laps to go. Plenty of time to catch and get around both of the Ganassi cars potentially. This thing ain't over, and look, Marcus Ericsson's got a habit of winning chaotic street races. He's done it a couple times. There's been no red flags, but a couple of cautions.
Take a look at the last 3 laps there between Dixon and Ericsson. Your point exactly, Hinch. Almost a second faster on lap 91. NTT data bringing us that great comparison. And Ericsson is head down and on a charge, and so much is in Colton Herta's control right now. They should and probably are giving him this race update, Dylan.
And something else to consider that Eric Bretsman just told Marcus Ericsson, both Herta and Dixon need to hit a fuel number. So Herta is just trying to make it to the end of this race, but he's got to save fuel. That's obviously backing Dixon up, obviously backing Armstrong up as well.
Last win was the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Pete. Not this year, last year for Marcus Ericsson. It's been a long wait. Don't count him out of the win here today in the Andretti Global Honda. He's got Armstrong on his list. Not close enough just yet at turn 3, but he now puts the pressure cooker on Armstrong.
And the problem for Armstrong is in fuel save mode, you have to introduce that large coast phase at the end of the back straightaway. That's where you have the best chance to save gas. That's right where Armstrong is able to lunge, charge on the brakes, and really mix it up.
It also stops you really from using push to pass in defense. So you can see Ericsson with only 58 seconds to Armstrong's 90, but Armstrong has to be so careful and so controlled and not using that button, or else it makes his fuel save number even bigger, Kev.
And Scott Dixon's concern right now is not fuel, it's a fellow Honda competitor right in front of him. Let's listen.
Herta's 2 laps short on fuel. The message has been passed to Honda. We got a little way, man. Copy that. We've told him, Scott.
No requirement whatsoever. Colton Herta is on the lead lap.
Also, the 2 cars behind him are also Hondas. So I don't think you're going to get any play from the manufacturer on this one. There's no benefit, as we see in the background. Armstrong under pressure from Ericsson. Not quite close enough this time.
I think that maybe one more lap for Marcus. It's very risky at other corners. Have we seen passes at other corners? Of course we have. But that turn 3 hairpin is the optimum spot.
But with 56 seconds left and 7 laps to go, just 6.5 actually, Marcus Ericsson can use 7-8 seconds every lap on the back straightaway now of push to pass. It's time to start leaning into the button, use that extra boost, and really put the pressure on Armstrong.
Super close now. Only 1.6 seconds between Dixon there in the orange and blue PNC Bank Honda and this guy, Marcus Ericsson, right there. First to third are blanketed by 1.5 seconds.
Great shot here. What kind of exit does Ericsson get? Not a great one. Armstrong doing a good job getting the power down, but now you see that push to pass. See the 6 green lights.
They're limiting the car ahead to 5 seconds of overtake per lap because of fuel.
Great information. So helpful for Ericsson to know exactly where Armstrong stands.
Don't make a risky move. So close here.
You got to take some risk, though, Jeff. It's not just going to happen for him.
An IndyCar win is in sight. It's that orange and blue car just ahead. He can do it.
Armstrong up ahead, has never stood on an IndyCar podium. He's got an Indy 500 winner, both ahead and behind. And the frustration for Dixon grows. You heard him on the radio saying, get Herta out of the way. But he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to move anywhere.
Big oversteer coming off of the last corner there for Armstrong. That allows Ericsson to get closer. He's going to look into turn one. Not quite close enough. He's won on the streets of Detroit before. That was back in Belle Isle, his first win in his IndyCar career. Bit between his teeth for the Swedish driver. But not a great run off of two.
He's got to get on the button, though. He's got enough push to pass to use. 38 seconds.
Just asked how many laps to go. He's chewed up 20 seconds over the last couple of laps.
Oh.
Dixon on Herta. He's trying to get by the Gamebridge Honda. He's frustrated. He wants to clear him because he knows the others are coming.
Colton doing the right thing there, getting out of the throttle, letting Dixon, as the race leader, take it.
It's not a pass for position, but that pass might seal the win for Scott Dixon.
Definitely going to help having that buffer there now in between himself and the pursuing race cars.
How quickly can Armstrong get by? What's going to happen here? Was that for the win for Scott Dixon? And Herta's in the pits. He clears out.
Decides to probably do a drive through the pits here just to eliminate himself from the battle. Very sporting move from the 26 team.
This is the move for Scott Dixon on Colton Herta. Out of turn 3.
And you see Herta there doing the right thing, backing out. Dixon got there.
All right, here we go. Look at this. Is Ericsson closer? Can he do anything about Marcus Armstrong? Armstrong will defend on the inside. Marcus goes wide.
We've seen some great defensive driving from Armstrong in turn 3. He knows how to keep Andretti Global cars behind him. He did it to Cal Kirkwood for a number of laps. He's only got to hang on 3 more times through that third turn to bring home that second place.
And the best IndyCar finish of his career by far.
Oh, yeah. Well, if he gets there, he certainly earned it, hasn't he? This way, being pressured by Marcus Ericsson all the way to the flag as the laps are running out. This time by for Scott Dixon. They'll let him know.
3 laps to go. 3 laps to go here.
Exactly that.
Here was a struggle for Ericsson to get on power coming off of turn 9. Those Firestones really starting to struggle late in this race.
By the way, we've been consumed by this. In the background, Christian Lundgaard has had a phenomenal drive to claw his way back to 5th.
He was stuck on top of another race car at about half distance. It pinned down Roman Grosjean, was able to reverse off, and now he's battling forward. That's Alexander Rossi in front of him.
Kirkwood's the next one on his list.
Excuse me.
This is Power.
Lundgaard in front of Rossi. This is the red car of Will Power.
So, folks, let's just set something up for you at the head of this field. Scott Dixon is ahead of these two here, Marcus Armstrong and Marcus Ericsson. There's Dixon, and he'll now be told there are just 2 laps to go. In the history of IndyCar racing, AJ Foyt has the most wins and the most championships. Well, if Dixon can hang on for 2 more laps, he's going to be within 9 wins of tying AJ Foyt. However, in the bigger picture, Scott Dixon takes the championship lead, and he is trying to get a 7th title. Who has 7 titles?
Oh, here comes the
AJ Foyt. Here's Ericsson on the inside for 2nd. The 2 Marcuses, but it's Ericsson in front.
Really nice pass from Marcus Ericsson from way back. On his teammate Kyle Kirkwood, but I'll go back to the pass that Scott Dixon made on Colton Herta to get ahead, to get away from Ericsson. It might just be enough, but Ericsson now with clean air. It'll be 1 lap to go at the line, and Ericsson will be pushing with everything he's got.
Under 2 miles. I don't think there's time to close down a 2-second gap. Great drive from Marcus Ericsson to get himself into this position, but Dixon has taken the white flag.
1.6 miles to go. Ericsson's got, what, 11 seconds of push to pass left. Dixon, the fuel-saving master, the race-winning master, is so close to becoming this season's first multi-time winner. He won on the famed streets of Long Beach. And here on the streets of Detroit, Scott Dixon. Just that calm voice of Mike Hull on the radio, the managing director of Chip Ganassi Racing, the way that they can just tiptoe through the chaos and stick to their plan.
And the confidence in the numbers, knowing the fuel that they have, knowing the fuel their driver is able to achieve while maintaining pace, just like Long Beach. He appears to have done it again.
And the 43-year-old New Zealander in a couple of weeks will be racing at the biggest sports car race in the world at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. But right here in the Motor City, Scott Dixon and Chip Ganassi Racing win. They spoil the GM party.
Remember where victory lane is.
Remember where victory lane is. Scott Dixon knows that more than anybody in the modern era on how to get to victory lane. Dixon does it again and takes the lead of this championship.
Another
Fantastic job, everyone. Thank you so much. That was cool.
Another
That was cool.
Dixie masterclass on fuel saving. You called it. Crunched the numbers, knew what their driver was capable of. This team is so good at executing in these difficult situations.
Checkered flag moment brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. And that is checkered flag number 58 for Scott Dixon.